What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of GameChat, the video game variety show brought to you by Borderline Entertainment. I'm your host, Asa Green River, and as you can see, I am joined to my lovely left, Mr. Josh Biddick.
Hey everyone, how you doing? I am happy to be here.
Oh, heck yes, you are. And for the first time, it was a technical marvel in this day and age of 2020, but we have two guests on the show. The dynamic duo, the Co-op Stop Boys, Mr. Shotgun McPain and Mr. Captain Woodsy, but those aren't their real names. We've got Nick and Sam on the podcast today. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Dude, thank you for having us.
Yeah, man, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Absolute honor. You know, like, I know we want to rush or roll through things.
It was just the first
I want to say
you
you both are two people I love working with. Josh, I've been on your podcast and it was fantastic, even if I rambled quite a bit. Issa, I love just your energy, your vibes. I mean, we had you on the podcast for our second, Sam, was it the second episode? I'm a terrible host.
It was
second episode, our first guest.
I dream about it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love you both. You both make amazing content.
Love goes out to you too as well.
Well, listen, as you said, you guys make content, right? Right. Who are you? For the folks at home who don't know who you are, whether they're watching this live on twitch.tv/borderline entertainment, where you can be a part of the show, or they're watching it on youtube.com/ well, we haven't hit 100 followers, so please make sure you go subscribe to the channel so I can actually put that slug in there. But anyways, if you're watching on YouTube or listening to it on podcast services and you don't know who these two are, Nick, Sam, whoever wants to go first, I don't care. Who are you?
Okay, so as a duo, we host the Co-op Stop podcast, a now monthly podcast whilst we figure stuff out, where we just shoot the stuff, have a good time, you know how it is, talk about games, have some fun. And then as a singular entity, I'm a staff writer over at Jewel Shockers. You catch me writing the news, a few reviews here and there, dropping some opinion pieces, bits and pieces like that.
And of course, I am the other co-host of the Co-op Stop. I hosted on my channel, Shotgun McPain, youtube.com/Shotgun McPain, but it is a joint effort for sure. And I also host a podcast called Memory Lane Unscripted, where I had some cool guests on and interview them. Sort of, I guess. I don't really interview them. I just like, hey, let's talk about what you want to talk about. But and then we go into childhood video games that have brought them to the place that they're at right now. And that is also a monthly show. And of course, I too I video over at Dual Shockers. And there's a lot of things that have gone up. The two previews have went up, one for Assassin's Creed Valhalla and one for Melody of Memory, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. And
in spite of me,
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we're very happy to have you here. Like I said, the show is live on twitch.tv/borderline entertainment. So if you're watching live, thank you so much. Get loud in the chat. I might not reference it too much just because I'm running the show, but you better believe that you could poke our interests, especially you. Shout out to Assemble. I see you out there. You're
best in the biz, that man.
Making some.
You're
great
tickling
content.
the feelings. You're tickling the feelings.
Bagged milk.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, for those who don't know how Game Chat works, which at this point we're 12 episodes in, and that's not even 12 episodes completely because there have been other seasons, although this is a complete overhaul, but who cares at this point? This is a variety show where we talk about video games in a variety of formats. I gotta figure out a better way to say that.
Josh is someone that I super admire.
He's a wordsmith.
He can get through those openings so well, and I have to do it like 3 or 4 times. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It takes a second for us to really get
just
through.
Because
hosting.
everyone's always impressed. I have it written down in front of me.
So I do too.
I read it.
That's
the
the
only thing
problem.
I don't have written is the intros. I will take credit for the intros. Those I usually come up with after I'm speaking, or I'll do it a couple of times before I make the call.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I've got it written down too. It's on this monitor right here. But the thing is when you look at the definition of a variety show, it says the word variety in it. And I feel like it's so redundant that it drives me nuts. But I mean, that's what it is. It's a variety show. If you ever watched TV back in the day, and you're old like me, you remember that there would be like Bob Barker or whoever else was the illustrious host, the sexy, the face that you saw all the time. And they would just take you through this variety hour where it would just essentially be a celebration of life. So we're taking that and putting it towards video games. So we're going to be talking about Bob Barker is still sexy, assemble. We're going to be talking about video game news. We're going to be making our own video games. We're going to be going down memory lane. We're going to be doing some video game trivia. Literally anything that you would want about video games, we're going to try and do it all for
Bob
you.
Barker's still alive?
Listen,
I
didn't want to assume
Can you be
and,
sexy
and
and
say
dead?
he's still sexy.
Yes, very much so.
But that's
David Bowie.
that's
There we go.
borderline necrophilia, right?
But,
I mean,
but David Bowie wasn't like currently sexy. David Bowie just is sexy. You know what I mean? Like,
fair.
if Bob Barker was currently sexy and dead, granted, I don't know that he's dead. He's
Yeah,
just, like,
we're not making
he
any
was super
claims
old when
here.
he fought Happy Gilmore. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, I can only assume he's still
Pretty definitely.
super old if he's alive.
I'll give you.
He's gonna be saggy and good looking.
You know what I'm saying?
But all right,
He's 96 years of age.
he's 96.
Yeah.
Listen, as soon as you hit those triple digits, that's when you're good to go. Just make sure you hit that prestige, and then you can knock off.
He's
you go.
6'1". That's something I did not know.
No.
Anyways,
Taller than
Yeah.
Bob
Anyways. All right.
Price is
A
Right.
few housekeeping things before we start the run of the show. This show is brought to you by our patrons, and don't forget you can be one too. Head over to patreon.com/borderline entertainment and become a patron today. We were just talking about this in the pre-show, which is not anything that you can watch if you're not a patron, but we want to do this full time. Life is all over the place, and we all have jobs outside of where we create content. And we want to continue to do this, and we want to do it better. So please consider being a patron today. And you know what? It's not even a sponsor on this episode. I don't know why I left it on the docket, but BLE merch. Because the sale lasts for another like week and a half, 2 weeks. And Woodsy, you're going to love this because it does ship to the UK. But you can get 20% off all BLE clothing. Just put in fall 2020 at the checkout, and you're good to go. You're good to go. All right.
And if you want to pay full price and don't get the discount, awesome. That's super kind of you too.
Some,
If you're like me and often forget,
somebody
if you
did
have
that.
Honey, maybe Honey, a future sponsor, they might even put the code in for you.
Maybe.
You hear
Honey,
that,
you
Honey? That's a
listening?
free plug, but the next one's going to cost you.
Listen, I don't know who it was because they put their name as fam. Thank you for buying that long sleeve tee because I know it's going to look good on you, but you forgot to put in the coupon code. I saw it on the back end. You should have saved yourself 20%, but that's neither here nor there. It's time to jump into the first segment of the show, Newsbies. All right. We have a pretty loaded docket when we're looking at the video game news. I kept it pretty segmented. We're going to be talking a lot about PlayStation, a lot about the Xboxes. Of course, these two titans of industry are coming out with their new consoles later this year. And in fact, just a few weeks, right? Times have accurate.
yeah, I
Close.
think it was like 3 weeks.
Getting
Yeah.
stupid close.
It's
I definitely have
Who
to
pre-ordered?
find my way
not.
to get one because I do need to get mine pre-ordered.
all right. So Nick,
Yeah,
no
I-
pre-order. Josh, no pre-order. Sam?
I've got a PS5 pre-ordered, but of course we don't get the PS5 until a week after you guys, which is wonderful.
You'll probably still get one before
You
me.
say, I was just going to say, you're
Yeah,
probably still
same,
going to get it
same.
before us. So
I live in a small town, so hopefully there ain't anybody out there being like, all right, I need a PS5 right now.
you never know.
Absolutely.
It's
I could make
people
it
coming
up
out of the
now, it's too
woodwork.
late.
Yeah. Okay, so we're actually going to start with the PlayStation. So, Sam, since you've got a PS5, this is really going to hit home for you. I know you said it's coming late, but you pretty much have one. Yeah. All right, start talking about the PS5. We're going to jump into PlayStation VR. It's going to be backwards compatible with the PlayStation 5, but is going to use the PS4 camera. You can't use the PS5 camera. I put the
Yeah.
story in there. I'm not going to read this one out because I just want to... Where are you guys at with this? Because this makes no sense to me.
It's wild to me. PlayStation, like I've pre-ordered a PlayStation, I haven't pre-ordered an Xbox, but PlayStation are making all the wrong moves and Xbox are making all the right moves. It seems every kind of week, PlayStation just or Sony make a weird decision that makes you go, what are you doing? Why would you bring out this camera and not make it compatible with the PSVR? Like, it's a weird one.
I think what they they had said is like it's so that people can stream through it, but I feel like they weren't very forward facing
cares?
with that.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
to
most
me.
of us who stream obviously have webcams and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a weird thing to not have that be available for the PSVR. So it's a lot to set up.
Was that maybe like, I don't know. I don't have PSVR. I think VR is really cool. I've only experienced it like once, and it's super fun, and I'd love to like have it at home. Sony's been a little weird. They've been doing weird things. I wouldn't be surprised if like it's not compatible with the PS5 camera because that's what PSVR 2 is going to be pushing. Like if they came out 3 or 4 months and were like, oh yeah, by the way, like here's PSVR 2 or PSVR, whatever they call it, comes with a PS5 camera or it's compatible with the camera, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they just weren't ready, but the camera is ready. So like you said, since they have the share button, it's such a big feature that they really want to promote. They needed the camera to go with it. And like, this is also the people who like made the Vita, who I think, which is a phenomenal console, but they put that out before it was like that went with the PS4, but the Vita came out before the PS4. So they couldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have another situation like that on our hands.
They were ahead of the times and behind the times at the same time.
All at the same time.
All at the same
all
time.
at the same time.
The Christopher Nolan of video games, just not as coherent.
Well, and I was wondering the same thing, Josh, about there being a PSVR 2. But my only, I don't even want to say concerns, because you have all talked about it. PlayStation's doing weird stuff right now. Mm-hmm. And I say weird to use a nice word because I think some of the stuff is stupid, but they seem like really ridiculous decisions. But I feel like if there's going to be a PlayStation VR 2, wouldn't they have said something or alluded to it, or say, at least in any of these like press releases, that for future hardware, we're going to use the PS5 camera, but for legacy hardware or whatever, we're sticking with the PS4 camera. I mean,
if you start dropping hints like that, people start talking and you lose the element of surprise for when they finally do drop the PSVR 2. It's kind of not as much of a big, holy crap, like they've announced the PSVR 2 because they've alluded to it.
And
it loses its impact.
I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's like when, like, I still have a base PS4, and it's mostly because when I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy a PS4 Pro, it was like, well, wait for the PS5. You know, like it's getting ahead of the curve. I think that Sony is definitely not very much forward facing in the moment. I think that they, like, especially, I mean, we saw it just with the camera situation where it's like, well, this is for streaming, but they didn't come out and say that when it came out. I think, and then even at the end of that, the most recent PlayStation, whatever the stream, I can't remember what the State of Play or whatnot, where they announced like the PS5 price and everything, and there was no sort of, hey, pre-orders, there's a pre-order links, or they're going up today, you know, or they're going up tomorrow, which I think is probably retailer. The fact that they didn't go up that, or they went up that day instead of the next day, was probably retailer's fault, but assumingly. But it's like PlayStation has just been very weird transparently, I guess that's a word.
No, that's a word.
Where like I feel like I get why they didn't reveal it right away, but I feel like they should have revealed the date and the price of it at the start of that stream, and then had each and every game be like, or at the very least have each and every game be available at launch, the ones that were, because I mean, we didn't even know Demon Souls was a launch game until Jeff Keighley tweeted it out. You know, I think that they've been very cautious about what they put out, and I don't know why.
And I think it's because of that they need to say something soon. And what worries me about, I don't think, and this is just me personally, I could be wrong, you can say it in the chat or the comments, whatever. I don't think there is really going to be an element of surprise. If they announce PSVR 2, I would imagine, aside from the diehard VR crowd, that it's not going to hit as loud as they want. Because where's the crowd now? I definitely don't think that VR is a fad, because I've played a ton of VR. I think it's great. The new Oculus just came out, and that is really doing well. But when it comes to like PlayStation VR, I mean, you've got wires all over the place. They haven't really iterated on it at all, and other VR units have had multiple iterations. I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of old Sony, to where the aforementioned Vita came into play, and it was ahead of its time. It's a fantastic piece of hardware. I was just playing mine last night.
So good.
But Sony let it go. And I'm afraid that, and that was in an ecosystem where handhelds were not dead, where other handheld makers, I'm primarily thinking Nintendo, kept iterating, kept pushing out. So to see other VR companies continuing to iterate, continuing to better themselves, to support the ecosystem, PlayStation's not doing that. So I'm not trying to bring the whole thing down on PlayStation VR. That's just my overall concerns.
Well, wasn't it Shuhei that came out and said like, hey, we're treating PSVR like we did with the PlayStation 1. Like this is going to be a thing that grows over time and it's going to take a while. So for that aspect, I can understand that. I mean, like Oculus, that's what they do. They make the Oculus. That's all they focus on. And I mean, there's the Facebook integration and all that crap, but like that is what they do. They have the time and the resources to keep innovating on their headset. Same with the Vive. Like, but for me, at least when Shuhei came out to say it, our Lord and Savior, it gives me hope that like, hey, we're really going to stick with this. And the fact that they came out and said like, hey, PSVR sold way better than we thought it would. Like they anticipated not to sell well because, they're all the other competitors. There's not a whole lot. But if they can come out with a special drop of PSVR 2, have some banger games, like have games like Iron Man or like a Super Hot or whatever, that big PSVR game, the big VR game in general, to push the unit, I think they could do it. One thing that makes me think they've got something in the works other than this camera thing is the fact that if you guys remember that AI assisted thing they kind of showed off, like in the recent UI trailer, right? They showed off, hey, if you need help with a certain level or whatever, you can go through and say, hey, this gives you hints, it's videos in game, opposed to having to go search for it online.
Right.
That came out that they had a patent for something like that. And I thought versus what we found out in the patent versus what we saw was really cool. And they were very similar. So I felt like that leak or whatever it was accurate. There have been a lot of stuff like that we've seen them patent for PSVR or at least VR technology. So I really think that they could come out with something strong. I will say that I love Sony. I grew up playing Sony consoles and games and everything like that. So maybe it's that like hopefulness in me, but I really do think we could see something special.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that they came out the gate using the Move controllers, which with anything else would have been fine, but the fact that the Move controllers were kind of a commodity as it was in the PS3 generation, it's not really like, like where Xbox is doing it right now, where they have backwards compatibility with their controllers. It was more like hey, you have to dig up this piece of hardware or find it like new, which I think it was like $90 alone for the
probably
it was
stupid
ridiculous.
high.
But I think that the biggest problem that I personally have with VR right now is the accessibility to set up. Because
for sure.
I mean, mine is right over in my entertainment center. I want to boot it up, especially because I hear Squadrons is great on the VR. But I don't have the heart, especially because now I have a 65-inch TV and it's real hard to get behind my TV right now, So
yeah.
I think that that's part of the battle and why I'm like, Oculus Quest seems like kind of up my alley. But then, of course, the Facebook integration. I think that this next iteration has to do more. And I think that it's a lot of the time PlayStation VR has been the joke because it is still a console, a VR, but it's not up to like the potential of your Oculus ones and your Index, obviously.
It's similar to the console PC argument, where consoles come out once, they're optimized for a time period, and then they don't iterate until much later, versus PC iterations happen much more often. But I want to continue on into PS5. And we don't have to spend too much time on this because I really just want to get hot takes. The PlayStation 5 UI, we've already mentioned it a little bit, talked about some of the integration hopes possibly with PlayStation VR, but that was more in depth than I thought we were going to get.
For sure.
With that demo reel, which I'm glad that it was also with the Sackboy game, because that's probably one of my most anticipated games for 2020. But hot takes, What do you think about this UI? Does it feel like enough of a departure that it feels next gen? Or do you feel like it's just smoother edges?
Man, am I glad that they got rid of at least from what I've seen, they've got rid of that stupid standalone TV app where you have to get into it. And I tell you, that is the bane of my existence.
Yep.
Every time I go in, but I feel like it's the slowest thing on the console.
So slow.
But I mean, now I have a smart TV, so it doesn't really matter. But I think
It's
that
TV,
what's really cool is the fact, like, one thing that I really enjoyed with Stata's reveal was the fact that, hey, you can go to YouTube and just immediately look up, if you're having real trouble with this and stay on the console. I think that's going to be an interesting feature, as well as the picture. From what I saw, the picture-in-picture mode is going to be quite interesting. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of takes on it. It seems like a UI. I do like that startup sound. That startup sound is real nice. I still don't think we've had as distinctive a startup since the PS2 days, because I mean, no one's like, man, the PS3 when they went with the waves. that's my rendition of the piece. But yeah, it's a UI.
I'm looking forward to exploring it. So I skimmed the video because I'm very much kind of, once I get my new box, I'm going to plug it in. I'm just going to spend hours playing with the UI, discovering it all for myself and stuff like that. So what I saw of it, it looks really sleek. It looks really nice. There's definitely improvements, but I haven't got too much to say because it's such as small of a thing as it is. I'm really looking forward to just diving in and just exploring it for myself.
I think it looked really cool. Again, kind of like Sam said, I just skimmed through it because I just wanted to see a little bit how it looked, and then I'm not really going to have an opinion on it until I can feel it myself.
Yeah.
I will say it looked really fast, which is awesome. Because as someone who was playing his PlayStation the other day, I think yesterday, and I tried to go back to the main menu to like switch users so my girlfriend could get on, it took much longer than it felt it should have to just go back to, the home page. So to see it like move so quick, that's really cool. I'm interested to see how this card system works because I couldn't tell if those were like Sackboy specific.
Yeah.
And granted, like I just skimmed through the video, so if they said it and I'm just being dumb at this point, my apologies. I couldn't tell if it was that game specific or like those were the trophies or if they're just like side missions. And I also noticed that the game was running in the background while you're looking at the cards. And I know it's a really weird thing, but like I'm a stickler for a good like in-game clock. Like I want to know how many hours I spent in. Like like the fact that in Final Fantasy VII Remake the clock stops if you're idle in the menu after like 3 minutes or something is the greatest innovation in game clock history to me. Like that is so cool. So I know when it says, hey, you've played for 88 hours, give or take, it is a solid 88 hours of gameplay, not just like, oh, you've been in this game for 1,400 days because you had to pee or you took a poop and you read a book and you forgot you were pooping and then you had a game to play. So like those are the kind of things that, I really struggle with in my life.
Okay. All right. So let's go around in Newsbies fashion. Now that we've talked about the poops always come up. But we've got...
Am I the common denominator for the poop talk? Because if it is, I really need to readjust my life.
I don't think it is. I think the poops just always come up in somebody's mouth, which... That's fine.
Joshy just likes to talk about Kiki.
I gotta take a Kiki while I'm playing games.
Oh my gosh. All right. Absolute boredom, mild interest, definite intrigue, extreme hype. Are we all in pretty reasonable understanding as to what emotions those elicit? Okay.
Is this for general PlayStation 5 or the VR story?
This is general PlayStation news stories. I said at the beginning, I'm just going to lump them all together, so it might be a little difficult, but I'm going to put myself at just definite intrigue.
Yeah. That's where I feel. It's definitely just little tidbits rather than actual information. I
need to get my hands on it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see what happens when it finally gets released and what is the final product and all that.
Yeah, I'm probably definite intrigue for the UI stuff. The VR stuff probably lower down in mild interest just because I can't really play VR. It makes me feel sick. I get hot sweats. So in terms of VR, like I know it's unless they figure it out, it's probably never going to be a thing for me. So, yeah, kind of mild interest for VR, but definite intrigue for the UI.
I had a dream the other day that I had a PlayStation 5. And
Okay, you're not Sam. Okay, cool it.
and it was really weird, and I was super excited. And like I was like, the consoles are gonna be it's cool. I'm excited, but like after that dream, the hype that I felt in that dream was like next level. Like I was like, oh, dude, I think I actually am really excited about this game. So
Let's go, doggy dog.
I think at this point I'm gonna go extreme hype just for all PlayStation stuff. Like
Okay.
I'm a Sony
That's a
pony.
bold
That's
move.
okay. That would be my cross to bear. But at this point, as close as we are, like I'm so excited for next gen. I'm so excited. It has finally hit me where like it's right around the corner, and the games I play now are only going to look better in 3 or 4. Well, I don't know when I'm going to get it, maybe a month or two, but you know what I mean. It's I think I'm a definite or extreme hype.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next item on the Newsbies docket, and that is Xbox. Now, Xbox is a little bit beefier when it comes to some of these sub points. So 2 of these, I'm just going to run through them. We can bring them into our final rating at the end. But I think this is important to note that the Xbox Series S and X are confirmed to have storage expansion cards that are going to be made by other companies. And I just wanted to bring that point up because it was previously announced that Seagate, which is the maker of the original version that they showed off, is going to sell for $229, just about the price point of the Series S, which is still ridiculous. And we thought that might be because they're the only manufacturer, but we're finding out that there's going to be more. So hopefully that price inflation is going to come down without taking a ding to quality. The other thing that I want us to keep in mind, iOS users are not out of the game yet when it comes to the xCloud Game Pass integration. I will say it till the day that I die. I have seen the light. I've played xCloud on my iPhone before all the crap went down. I still have it on my phone. I just open it and it doesn't work. But it looks like early 2021 is when we might see it come. So if you can wait, do it. Don't feel like you have to go buy a Samsung just to play the games. Just play them on your Xbox. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about, and feel free, friends, foes, loved ones, if you want to go back, go back. But I want to talk about the Xbox Series X launch lineup because I have some serious beef. It is because of this launch lineup that I will probably go towards PS5 at the launch window. Because I'm not Sam, I'm not getting it at the very beginning. I already lost my chance. But let me just read through the list. I'm sure you've all read it, but listeners who know, people might live under a rock. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Borderlands 3, Bright Memory 1.0, Cuisine Royale, Dead by Daylight, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 5, Enlisted, Evergate, The Falconeer, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Grounded, King Oddball, Maneater, Manifold Garden, NBA 2K21, Observer System Redux, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Planet Coaster, Sea of Thieves, Tetris Effect Connected, The Tourist, War Thunder, Warhammer, Chaos Bane Slayer Edition, Watch Dogs Legion, WRC 9, FIA, or is it FIA, World Rally Championship, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Yes, Your Grace.
Yes, Your Grace is great. I just want to shout that game out. It's a fantastic game.
And here's my thing to what you're saying, Sam, because what you just said is my beef. When you hear a new console's coming out, and I understand that Microsoft and Xbox are in their own little world now. They're pulling a Nintendo, and they're not in the traditional console race anymore. But where's the gem? You know what I'm saying? Where is that golden nugget that's like, holy crap, you need to get this new Xbox because this is the system seller.
It got delayed. It was Halo Infinite, right?
But even that they said was going to be coming out on Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
And
that's their whole thing now, right? Like
that is their whole thing.
Have they announced it? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no Series X exclusive yet, is there?
Yet. Apparently, it's going to be coming on later on down the road.
Okay.
But I think, and I didn't mean to seem combative. I'm completely with you, Josh, because it's going to be a new game that was going to be releasing on both systems. Half of this list are games that are already out right now.
Right.
Like, Sam, that was my point that I wanted to make. You've already played Yes, Your Grace.
Yep.
Why would I play it on a console that's coming out later this year when I could play it right now. Like, you can go play 2K21. I don't know why you would want to.
All
Because
these games, can't you?
I think the thing with Xbox
What?
that has, and again, I too am a Sony pony, so this hurts saying, but Sony like has PlayStation 4 games, has a couple of PlayStation 5 games that are exclusive. I think that even Horizon Forbidden West was announced to have a PS4 port.
yep, so is Miles Morales, so is Sackboy.
Yeah, so I mean, like, they're both kind of doing interesting things, but I think that the thing with Xbox is, and again, they're just basically becoming a platform.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's the main thing. You know, I think that if you want to play, I believe Ori and the Will of the Wisp is going to be at 120 frames a second, so
Mhm.
it's more for like, if you want to play that way, that's there for you. But I
Yeah.
don't think that I agree with you that I don't think there's anything to really get Xbox Series X at launch for me. But I think that as the Xbox brand, I mean, you just talked about it with xCloud, you know, like xCloud's amazing. And on top of that, I can buy the games. I have Game Pass on my PC. I can buy the games on my PC. I can buy the games on my Xbox One X. It's just anywhere you want to play, you're still giving them money. I do agree with the fact that it's a little bit, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to get the Xbox Series X,
Right?
But it's just because that's my preference. And I think that they're giving you options, whereas Sony's just like, yeah, this is the PS5, you know, like.
I
think that's basically it.
I want a reason to buy the Xbox Series X. I want them to say, all right, here it is. Even though Miles Morales, Horizon, Sackboy are coming out on PS4 and PS5, we literally just talked about how slow the PS4 is. I don't want those for PS4. I don't want to suffer through that. I want that. Oh my gosh. Did you all see it? The Miles Morales thing where they showed the transition from being in the little dungeon area to going back out to the roaming? What?
Incredible.
Oh.
And you know that if you would play that on the PS4, you'd get, it's still pretty, but you would just get a loading screen. So like they've got me. It didn't bother me that it's coming out to PS4. And I think that Halo Infinite would have been one of those cases where I would have said to myself, listen, I know that I could play it for free on my Xbox One, but I want all of the performance because it's a new game, it's a new experience. So,
but you could argue that you like Yakuza, like where you're getting that performance. I mean, it's exclusive to Xbox on the next gen. You know, I think that playing the devil's advocate here, I think that there is games that are like that. You know, like I think there are games that are like that, grammatically correct. But
that's how you edit the video and Sam writes.
Right, exactly. I think that Xbox is doing that, but in a more subtle way, with things, and I don't
think launching I don't think the time like launching your console is a time to be subtle though. I think you need to go balls to the wall.
I mean, look at what PlayStation's doing. PlayStation, we don't know anything about PlayStation though.
But we know there's Miles Morales, Sackboy,
the games,
Demon Souls, Horizon coming soon, Ratchet and Clank coming soon.
Right.
Like you've got all these big games that yes, they might be coming to PS4, but you want to play them on PS5. Xbox doesn't even have that.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, how many of these games will be like, most of these will be out before the Xbox Series X, right?
Yes, they will.
I'm looking at this list.
Yakuza is.
Because if they have...
Realistically, this isn't even... And I don't want to come out as a downer, but like by definition, is this really a launch lineup? Or is this just games you can also play?
Okay.
Like I know Smart Delivery makes them better.
Right.
I feel like this is the same argument with the PlayStation 4 Pro, you know, where it was an iteration. I know we're at new consoles now, but I feel like that's just what this is. I don't think that Xbox is trying to go for that.
And you're right. And you're right. They're not. But the thing is at the end of the day, Microsoft, Xbox, they are a business who needs to make money, and they are not going to make a new console and want to suffer a loss.
Yeah. Well, they don't really make that much from consoles itself. It's the software. It is the software rate.
But
you know, and I think that the attachment rate going down the road, you know, with stuff like Halo Infinite and whatever the new studios we get from them, especially Bethesda, you know, like I think that we're definitely in. We're in for the long haul with Xbox. I just don't think that necessarily that long haul is happening right now. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't. They also have the Series S, which is the cheaper model, and
Right.
$100 cheaper than the cheapest model of the PlayStation 5. I think that they're not in the same race anymore, so that's why it's weird for us as people who have like seen the console business go a certain way, and to see that, you know, like Xbox One having titles like Rise and trying to think of anything else. But that's the thing. Also, launch lineups are notoriously bad. I mean,
Yeah.
we look at Killzone Shadowfall, man. Like,
You
that
shut
was-
your mouth. You shut
it's
your
not
filthy
good.
mouth.
It's not
You
good.
say that, but
I
look at the
loved
launch
it.
lineup for PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Like, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like,
juicing.
Microsoft alone
It's
is
juicing.
ridiculous.
Yeah. For
Here's-
sure. I just don't think that's what Xbox is going for.
Fair, totally.
You know,
fair.
I think that they're banking on what they have right now, and then they're going to be a leader going ahead. And again, this is all coming from somebody who definitely agrees with you guys, where I'm just like, I do enjoy the launch lineup, but I think that Xbox is like with I've said this on multiple podcasts, but the thing that is so cool about this generation is the fact that we have Nintendo over there doing what Nintendo does. We have Xbox doing a brand new thing with xCloud and Game Pass and backwards compatibility being on top of all that. And then we have Sony playing the same race that we've seen before. And I think that while exciting because of exclusives, it's also kind of boring because we've seen it before. Like, this is not a new venture where we can think about, you know, but again, this is all coming from, I agree with everything that you guys are saying, but at the same time, I think that there's...
I'm going to back you into a corner and beat you into submission.
Listen,
I wonder, like... Oh, you go.
No, you go, Josh, because I've already said a lot.
I'm wondering if Microsoft isn't going to really see the benefit of this new change in tactic until like a couple years from now. Like maybe in 2 or 3 years when we see the Xbox Series Z or X2 or whatever it is, like there's going to be a training period for the consumer, right? Like everyone knows for a while now that it's been, you know, Sony versus Microsoft. You got your Xbox 360, you got your PlayStation 3, you got your Xbox One X, you got your PlayStation 4. They're used to this console war. And I think it's been apparent, we've said on the show, that Microsoft isn't playing the console war anymore. But it still doesn't, it feels like that and it doesn't. Like we're all looking at this like as a launch light up, comparing it to the PlayStation 5. When I don't think that's the game they want to play anymore. So how long does it take for the consumers to learn that? And is it we, the people who are deep into it, who are listening to gaming podcasts, making them that need to learn that lesson? Or is Joe Schmo going to see like, oh, this is new Xbox, I'll get this cool games, I'm going to play games?
Yep, I guarantee that's what's going to happen. As somebody who worked retail when the Xbox One and PS4 launched, that's definitely what's going to happen, you know, where they're like, oh, new Xbox, all right, let's go. Let's do it. You know, I think that there's a lot of people out there who are repping, being like, I want to see what's coming ahead. I think that the majority is going to be PlayStation 5 at launch, obviously with exclusives and everything. But I think that down the road, I think that Xbox is going to have some very big exclusives. And I think that, again, I think that the launch lineup here, pretty weak in terms of regular launch lineups. But at the same time, I think that they have so much in the tank that is going to be, you know, going ahead. So
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna throw my rating out there because I feel like I could dive into this for maybe an entire podcast episode, because there's so much speculation. I think that's really the big thing, is we don't know what's really going on in their minds. No matter what kind of insights we try to throw at it, I'm gonna put myself at mild interest, just because, like I said before, it's kicked me down to really defaulting to PS5 for the fall.
I'm probably the same, maybe at the higher end of it, because I think in, like say, a year's time, 2 years time, where are they going to be? That's what's really like keeping me interested with this Bethesda stuff and Obsidian. They've got these big studios that have the potential to make them do something. Their success isn't going to be measured on console sales, it's going to be measured on subscription numbers. So that all of that stuff has got me slightly more interested.
All right. So we've got one more item on the Newsbies docket, and I gotta say, you know what? I know we talked a lot about PlayStation, Xbox. I want to know what that Mario Rivera has to say.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's out there. I see him in the chat. I see what's going on. What do you think? Where you at, my guy? All right, this one on the on the docket is really. I doubt anybody else here in this panel knew that this was happening, cares that this is happening, but as a K-pop lover myself, I had to put it in here, even though I'm pretty sure that this event has come and gone. I don't really know because I haven't played PUBG in a long time, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Okay, so Blackpink, the K-pop group, has had a major crossover with PUBG. And here's why this is important to me. I feel like that we are on the verge to see something really cool. Do we all know BTS here?
Yeah,
Yes.
I know of BTS.
Okay. You can't really see it too well. But there are a few albums, right? This entire shelf, if only the camera could see it, is all BTS stuff. Army bombs, pennants, flags, photo cards, masks, literally everything. And they premiered a version of their music video into Fortnite. It wasn't to the extent of the Travis Scott event that I wanted it to be, but what the Blackpink event in PUBG is showing to me is that we're going to see more crossover outside of the regular gaming space. What do you guys think? I feel like this is going to be one of those just unifying events, because with 2020 and being separated from everyone and not being able to go to live events, not being able to go to conferences, concerts, whatever, everybody's just so holed up in their own space. So to see something positive and out of nowhere like this, to where like who, even like K-pop stands, who saw this coming? But to see on both ends them going all out, this is incredible. So I realized that this was a tidbit just for myself to gush about K-pop on a video game podcast. But screw you, it's my podcast. I'll do what I freaking want. That's to the listeners, not my panel. I love you all. And the listeners, that's why I love you too.
You know, I will add a little bit tidbit. So I don't remember who I was talking with this week about it, but I think that it's really cool. As much of a not of a fan as I am of most of the people that have been on like Fortnite. Not that I'm not a fan, but like I'm like, they're just passing glance sort of thing. Like Travis Scott, I'm like, all right, well, like I didn't get to see My Chem this year. You know, I wanted to go see. I mean, obviously, I didn't get tickets because I got 45 minutes in, and they were $500 for nosebleeds. Anyways, I think that the thing that's really cool about what's been happening over the past year has been to see these performances get into games and VR. In fact, like just the fact that we are potentially going to see at some point a VR concert. You know, I don't think that's been put out there at all, but I mean, like, I feel like it's going to happen.
It's been a thing that they've talked about in the past.
Yeah, where I think that we're going to be able to have these experiences for people that aren't able to go to these shows. And I think it's a really cool thing to have things like, it's very weird to have things like the Star Wars clip that they showed last year in Fortnite.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still really cool.
The fact that crossover was sick.
Yeah, well, and the people who may not even, I mean, obviously Star Wars is a huge thing, but like people who may not know these people or these franchises will get some exposure to them, something that they wouldn't see on their own. I think that's something that's super cool. I mean, like you said, like I feel like there's a lot of K-pop stands, but obviously in this panel, not too much. I think that would open up for the players of those games to be able to say, hey, like maybe I'll check this out on my own now, you know, and that sort of thing.
Obviously, don't know what the costing is behind it, but Fortnite, PUBG, two of like the biggest platforms in entertainment. So as far as like marketing goes and stuff like that, it kind of makes sense. If you want to hit as many people as possible, you go into Fortnite, you go into PUBG, you go into these massive online games and hit as many people as you can.
I think it's cool to bring like kind of like Nick, what you were saying, brings people in. Like I never played Fortnite and they did this Marvel event and now I can't stop playing Fortnite. So, you know, it worked on me. So I think it's great for both the game and the creator. I think it's cool to see that. Yeah, I think in a way, this is a big recognition of video games. I think it makes sense to see like K-pop stars doing stuff with video games because I think Korea has such a well-known history with their gaming culture. So I think this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, more power to you. If you can get like super big stars to come in, like there's a Keanu Reeves skin, well, technically it's John Wick skin in Fortnite. Like, that's cool. If you can bring in cross promotion
brand.
is I guess the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
Cross
And you can bring
pollination.
people in and you build up fan bases. Go for it. That's awesome.
Go for it. So can
If
we
you can bring polymerization?
Can we all be
into the game?
yes? Can we all be extreme hype on this one?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Just
I'm
for
down
you.
for that. I'm
Thank
down
you.
for
Especially
that.
Thank you.
since Nick said polymerization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out to Aaron Moeller and Gino, fellow kind of funny best friends, who I found out recently that they're Army, they're BTS stands. That made my heart sing. But okay, let us know in the chat, in the comments below, where are you at with these Newsbies topics? Are you extreme hype? Are you mild interest? Are you definite intrigue? Are you absolute boredom? Or are you somewhere else on the spectrum that isn't even listed, that we didn't even talk about it? But enough about the gaming news. Let's talk about what's in the box. What is in our Xbox, our
box?
PlayStation, our Switch, or whatever? What are you playing right now, Nick?
I'm on the spot. Okay, so actually, I picked up a couple of games. Since I've been loving Hades, I've been looking at some more roguelikes in that sort of genre. But I downloaded Going Under, which is the I don't remember what I think I remember the studio at some point, but anyways, basically it's so you're this girl, works for a startup, I got an internship in marketing at the startup,
Right.
and you come to the startup, and obviously not what she's doing. She is not marketing. She is being put into the dungeon to clear out the people the previous tenants to the startups. So you have these different joblins being the people who worked there previously and the people who are trying to get these app startups. And I've only played a couple hours of it, but man, it is so much fun. It's like 20 bucks on the eShop. Super fun. If you're into Hades right now, definitely check it out. I've also been playing, I did play last night with DualShockers own Scott.
Scott's a good one.
Scott's a good one. The Ghost of Tsushima Legends. And that was really fun. It's interesting to see that. And as much as I do love the Avengers game. I love the Avengers game so much, but it's amazing to see this free content almost do similar to what the Avengers entire game does. So that's
better.
That's
yeah.
Oh, that's a sad thing.
They're different. They're very different.
They're different, but it's also like, oh, you can do this as a side game,
right? For free, just like here, we want to give this to you.
As much, and I
love
better. Avengers. If you see our DualShockers Q3 discussion, I gush about Avengers, but man, is it a buggy mess. At the same time, it is not a technically great game, but at the same time, I'm enjoying my time with it. I've also been cracking more away at Persona 5 Royal. Nice. I want to get that done so much before the Game of the Year talks actually happen, because I want to know, is it like, should I
feel like you've been talking about this game
dude,
every podcast we've done for the last 5 months.
I will. Listen, okay, hold on. I got to do pod racing. All right, we've had my pod racing quota for the week as well. Just got to get that on there.
Get out of here.
But yeah, I've again just trucking along in that. There was one other game I did download, and I will probably talk about it on Co-op Stop, just a little say that for that. But Bug Fables, the Paper Mario-esque game that came out at the same time around Origami King did. So yeah. I'll have some more to talk about that on probably our next podcast.
We've had some good talks about Bug Fables on this show.
Yeah. So that's just about it. Yeah.
I'll go. Nick's mentioned it. I'm playing a lot of Hades at the moment. I think pretty much everywhere you look, everybody's playing Hades. It's a fantastic game. Do I love it as much as everybody else? Probably not. I still think it's a good 9 out of 10.
High praise.
But I'm getting it's getting a little bit repetitive, but I don't want to do it a disservice because the combat is so satisfying. The story, the narrative, really clever, really, really interesting way to keep, even after beating the game, to keep you going. Because quite often with roguelikes, I'll beat the game and then that's it. Like you roll credits, you're done. Hades keeps you going back. There's a reason to keep playing. So it's really, really clever, but I haven't rolled credits and I'm kind of feeling like I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And I've got Cam Hawkins to thank. He's been going for a resurgence of Rock Band. If you follow him on Twitter, he's been trying to buy a guitar. He's now found a guitar and I think he's back in the game, and that inspired me to pick it back up. And boy, have I lost my touch. I used to be very good at that game, but man, I'm struggling even on hard now, and I really don't like it. But yeah, Rock Band, that game will never get old. And I've just brought Persona 4 Golden, and I'm scared to jump into it because I know I'm not going to get anything else done if I do.
It is a huge time sink in the best way.
So it's just there, and I'm just kind of working up the courage to jump into that.
I have, of course, I've still been playing Fortnite. I finally got my Iron Man suit. Made it to level 100 naturally, didn't buy anything, so that felt really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it felt really good. I think I'm past level 100 now because I guess there's this is my first time playing Fortnite, so I guess after 100 you can get like silver foil, and then there's gold foil, and I guess rainbow foil after
That's
that.
new.
So okay, cool. So yeah, so that's super cool. Still kind of playing that here and there. Of course, Ghost of Tsushima Legends came out, which has been incredible. I haven't got to play it a whole lot. My girlfriend's been playing a ton. She's actually happy I'm podcasting because she's playing in the other room and she doesn't have to feel guilty about like ignoring me while she plays. So that's been super cool. The fact, kind of like, we were mentioning with Nick, like it's free and they did it on the side, and it makes it like, and I was talking to Camille a little bit on Twitter about it. Just like the fact that it's pretty much a games as a service game, but attached to a phenomenal game that you can spend like 60 hours playing. They made that edition even better, right? With the new game plus and the new added content. And then they're giving you this free games as a service game where you're connecting with friends. It's got a whole new story mode that's really cool and really fun and really dark. All the gear and the loot you can add onto your character. Each class feels distinctly different. Like it's so cool that they did that for free. I did buy Persona 5 Royal a couple weeks ago because they had that big in Japan sale. So it was like 30% off. So I bought that. I have not got a chance to play it yet. I'm super excited to do so. I really want to do so. But again, like we said, it's a time sink. And I know I want to make sure I have, like, I'm not going to play an hour of Persona. I'm going to play 12 hours of Persona when I have time, but I need to make sure I can have that time. And then, of course, I have been playing Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory.
That's the one I forgot.
Which I was surprised you didn't say it. So I got your back.
Yep.
I've made the jokes that I was going to get this game because I am so far in Kingdom Hearts, like I can't get out. So I was going to have to get the game just because it's like my identity. I played it and I fell in love with this game. It is legitimately good. It's not like, oh, this is a stupid Kingdom Hearts side game or whatever. Like I've played the demo so many times. I've played through all of the different songs so many times. I've played them on the different difficulties. I'm mastering them. I just want more. I want so much more. And the fact that it's going to have almost the entire discography of all of the Kingdom Hearts games has me so excited. There's so many songs I know inside and out, and I can't wait just to play. I did the co-op mode with my girlfriend. We were playing Riku and Sora. That was super fun. When I'm playing this game, I have the biggest smile on my face. I feel like I'm 10 years old again playing Kingdom Hearts for the first time. It's just, there's something so special about that music and that world. And when you load up and the main menu has this like jazzy version of the theme, like I've heard that theme 5 million times, 5 million different ways, but never jazzy. And ooh, boy, does it slap. It just gives me tinglies. It's so good. So good.
I'm getting ear to ear just listening to you talk about it. Like I want to play it so bad.
You should. And it's free. It's a demo. You go play the demo, try it, see if it's for you. If it is, I can't wait for this game to come out. I think it comes out in November.
I was gonna say,
yeah, November 13th.
Okay.
Oh, so cool. I can either get a PlayStation or I can get Kingdom Hearts.
I was just going to say, well, that's a terrible
Yakuza
day.
As well. Yeah, I agree with a lot of sentiments that Josh had. I just wanted to add the fact that Man, it's been a while since we've been put Kingdom Hearts content in front of us that we've been like, oh yes, this is amazing. Let me smile.
You're
from
not
ear
embarrassed
to
to
ear.
talk about it.
I think the best it goes along with another favorite franchise of mine, Star Wars, where the music is the best part of every single one of those games.
Mhm.
Like it is so good. It is so good. And now that they're making a game around it, I'm down for it. I'm kind of sad that it's $60 because I feel like I'm kind of getting. I'm like, you just screwed me with Remind though.
But it's like
So-
it's every world. It's like there's
right.
I feel you because I'm like I wish it was like 40 or 50.
Right.
It
But
feels
I
like a
sit
$40
back,
game.
It's gonna have boss fights. It's gonna have every single song and pretty much, to my knowledge, every world from Kingdom Hearts. Not in the way we want to. You can't really explore them, but you're gonna go there. You're gonna relive those moments. And of course, if I know anything from Nomura-san, he is gonna put some stupid important thing into this game that is
Yep,
going to be
that's where I'm
detrimental
at.
to Kingdom Hearts 4.
And it's going to be at the
whenever they make it,
very
like,
end.
we're going to find out if Kingdom Hearts 4 or Kingdom Hearts versus 13 or whatever the hell it's going to be
Kingdom
comes
Hearts
out.
versus 13.
You know what I mean? Like, he's going to put some hardcore shit in this game. Sora's coming back to life.
Yep.
I'm calling it. Or Kyrie's going to go off. Kyrie is kind of like, maybe Kyrie will actually have a character for the first time ever.
I was saying maybe we get a Kyrie game. I'm just
Maybe.
putting that there.
I think Sora should end up with Riku, but now I guess Riku's out with Naminé, and like Kyrie's like, oh, I killed Sora. I gotta go find him. I suck. Oh, well, who knows?
You guys are talking a different language.
Get on our level. Get on our level.
Don't even understand.
Dude, I never played 3. Did you just say Kyrie kills Sora?
No.
That doesn't. It's Kingdom Hearts.
I mean,
There
but
was
at
a
the same
brutal
time,
murder. Yeah, she
you
went
think
up
I'm
behind him and just
serious?
snapped
It
him,
is
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts after all.
Yeah,
I was going to
That's a
get
good
there at
point.
some point. Oh, man.
No, it's not real. It's not real. So,
Okay.
Asa, we got
Listen, but still, you said it in 2 different instances, and it feels very real. Okay.
The hatred's real. You
Man,
understand.
what am I
yeah,
playing?
the hatred will be real.
Yeah. Wow, that really threw me off.
Oh.
I've been playing not a lot
Not Kingdom Hearts
lately.
3, apparently.
No, not Kingdom Hearts 3.
Not Last of Us Part 2 either.
Actually,
you. I was
I
getting there.
did play a little bit of Last of Us Part 2. What has happened? I have just left the aquarium in the flashback with Owen and Abby.
Okay.
Yes.
Jay.
Like where you did the bow thing with the toy?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. I know where you're at now.
I think I know it.
And Owen
I think it's
was
day 2
it might be like
of
not too
of
far
a
behind.
thing.
Owen was just talking about how he didn't think the scars were that bad because he's like, really, who is the bad guy? We're both doing terrible things. And Abby's like, oh, don't say that because Abby's stupid. But no, the game that I've been playing the most when I have been playing stuff has been Among Us. Just playing Among Us with the Borderline family community and just a bunch of friends. And it's not a new game, but it's new to so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just so glad that there's so many people playing it out because it's just a blast. And I've played with 2, not 3 of you. Josh, you haven't played with us yet. So
I'll play with you. Don't worry. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. Okay, you say you will, but
You could invite me. I mean,
Put your
I've never
badge
played
out
with you,
there.
Josh, but I've never asked you to play. So
it's
maybe
been
there's
in the
that.
Discord. It's been in the Borderline family
Listen,
Discord.
Josh,
Maybe.
I
And
need
hear
to have
everybody.
your badge on my desk by Monday. Let me tell you, you're out of this force.
All right. Let us know in the chats and the comments. What are you playing right now that we're not? That you think that we should check out? But we're gonna move on from playing games to making games. It's time for Make It or Break It. And this is where you in the community give us a prompt and we make a game built around that prompt. And the prompt for this episode is tailgate. So we just have to make a game based around tailgating. And we have a few things that we have to come up with. We have to come up with who's making the game, what's the storyline, how is the game played, so on and so forth. Now, usually we have one person who's the game director. We've got two guests. So you two are co-directors. We all have to agree on the decisions that are being made, but ultimately if there's an argument between Josh and I, you two get to drop the gavel, and that's what goes. And then when we're done, we then turn it back around, give it to community for the box art. But that being said, does anybody have any ideas for a video game about
tailgating? Before we start, are we talking about like the American tradition of like car parks and whatnot? Because tailgating, if that's what it is just not a thing over here. So
Yes,
I
it's
was wondering.
being in the parking lot outside a stadium before the game.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
I mean,
That's fine.
I mean, it's got to be a mini game collection, right?
I'm totally fine with that.
I was thinking like a Paperboy style game.
Okay.
That's where my head was.
The minigame makes a lot of sense.
What? Describe to me the paper
Yeah,
boy
yeah. Tell me what
concept.
you're feeling there.
Yeah.
So in my head, right, you're in the parking lot
Okay.
where pickup trucks abound,
Yep. Nope.
and you're kind of like bouncing back and forth, doing like eating the different food, or like these guys need more chips, so you go over and maybe you take chips from one van and you go give it to these other guys, or like, oh man, like running low on ice, so somehow you have to get ice to this one car. So I mean, like, I don't know, I guess I'm as describing it's almost Diner Dashy, but
I was gonna
looks-
say Diner
Okay.
Dash.
yeah, but it looks like Paperboy. But you know,
Okay,
like kind of
okay.
like there's different tasks you have to do or different things at each like tailgate.
Well, and honestly, that if we did a series of mini games, that could be
That's a good point.
a part
Yeah.
of it. Like when you say a series of mini games, I don't know if any of you remember, it was like some sort of Atari collection on like the Xbox 360. And it was like this virtual arcade that you walked around with your avatar, and then you could go
Oh,
to
yeah.
all the cabinets and just play all these different games. I imagine something like that. So we can have all of these other little mini games within it, and then there's just like one hub. Maybe the hub is an actual tailgate where
Yeah.
you customize the stadium that you're at. And then as you walk to everybody's trunk of where their food is, because that's not creepy, you play these mini games that we've got going on.
Now,
Can there be a mini game where you have to remember to bring the tickets? Because
Tickets or
I've
the
done it-
sandwiches?
yeah, like I've there you go. I'm glad you knew exactly what I was talking about. Because both one, Scrubs, and two, in
Yes.
real life, like I got halfway to a game that was 2 hours away, and then went, I didn't bring the tickets, and then I had to drive an hour back to get the tickets, and then drive another 2 hours to the event, and it was horrible, and it's emotionally scarring. So I'd like to put that in a video game.
I want that so bad.
I think there has to be some kind of like brawler mode
for sure.
mission
Yep.
game,
yeah.
like
Yes.
Now, what about
2D side scrolling through in between the trucks. The
That
cars.
was
Yes.
fantastic.
what about now? I might transform this entire thing. What about a rhythm game where it's like drinking beers, brawling, remembering the tickets. All right, that's it.
See,
I think that should be in there for sure.
I feel like it has to go into the mini games
Yeah.
because I
It-
could
it
not
happens
do an
really fast, like
entire.
transitioning with WarioWare.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like we could have them Rhythm Heaven / WarioWare.
So wait, who made those games? Do we know offhand?
It's not Hudson, I don't think. I'll look it up. I got you.
Who's got the quick Google?
Quick Google, fastest fingers.
Got you. All right. Published by Nintendo, developed by Nintendo Research and Development.
Okay, well Nintendo's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Unless
I don't know.
I can't wait. Who else has done something similar to WarioWare? I can't
trying
think
to
of
think.
anybody off the top of my head.
Us, we're about to do it right now.
Yeah. Rhythm Heaven also developed by Nintendo.
Okay. all right, well.
WarioWare.
Just I'll make it look like I'm
Ooh!
talking to.
Oh my gosh! Who
Okay.
made What the Golf?
Oh yes, no, it's got to be those guys.
It's
I don't
gotta
know-
be
yeah,
those
but-
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the golf is fantastic.
What the Golf is developed by Triband.
Triband. All right. So
Yeah.
if anybody can clip out this section right here and just tag Triband, you please make this game. We can help you with the concepting. We're literally making the game for you right now.
We're doing part of your job. It's easy peasy.
All you have to do is just put it on a phone because this would be perfect on a phone and then
you all
later
have
port it to a
phones,
Switch.
don't you?
Wow. Triband.
Make it a what the golf. Try it as a what the golf level. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Implement small. Start small.
Yeah.
And then blow it up to its full blown thing.
Okay. Storyline.
Okay.
What about this? You are a young child.
Of course.
You're going to the game with your parents,
Yes.
and it is your dream to be the player of whatever stadium sport that you're going to.
Oh.
Okay.
And so what you're doing as you are playing these different mini games, you don't stay the same age as you go to the different mini games. You might be elderly, you might be middle-aged or whatever. But it's just taking you through what the experiences of your fans are going to have.
Oh,
Okay.
And so by the time, I'm just thinking, for some reason, I'm
By
really
end game.
envisioning what the golf, by end game, you have a choice to make. Now that you've experienced what your life is going to be like, what your fans' lives are going to be like, you either go into the sport or you don't do it at all. And then everything that just happened will never
and then you
happen.
stay as, but then
So-
you stay as fan.
You stay as a fan.
You want to do the fan life, or do you want to be people like you want to have fans?
Fan
You
or
have to get to meet
fame?
your star player. You have to meet your idol.
Fan
In
or
one of these
fandom.
decisions.
I don't know if that's a great
Feel like-
tailgating the game, but at the same time,
I feel like we need to transition. If we're going with this big storyline where you make your way to the top or make this big decision, I think we keep the minigame style, but go down a. Has anyone played Battletoads, the new one?
I
Not
know
yet.
everyone know.
Okay, so it's one story, but
Okay.
there's about 8 or 9 different genres across 4 different chapters. So
Mhm.
there's a space shooter genre, a
Oh, okay.
side-scrolling genre.
Solid. I get it.
So,
yeah.
like, you're playing through this game through the different genres. So, rather than quick, snappy mini games, I think you play segments of the life
Okay.
with each segment
I'm game.
a different
I'm all about
genre.
So it
I don't know.
could be a blend of the two. That is the way that the game is played, and then maybe the way it's navigated to each of those genres is keeping that aesthetic of what I mentioned before with the Atari Arcade, but it's within the parking lot.
Mhm.
But the map layout is similar to what the golf. Sorry, I just have to stare into blank
sure.
space to think about things. So just FYI. And so you can see everything top down, so you can play the missions out of order if you want to.
Mm.
But if you were to play them in the order that you come across them, it's just gonna maybe make a little bit more sense.
get that.
I don't know. I lost it. Dang it.
you know, what if we still do the mini game and the Rhythm Heaven or whatever we want to do with it, but have it be like a Florency sort of story, where it's like just shown through like panels and such, like,
Hmm.
you know,
I get you, like experiences the kid has.
yeah.
Okay,
Obviously, you mean
I like that.
really intense and dark and. Well, not
And-
dark.
I mean, kind of, it does get intense because you're just like, he's like, oh, I want to be the people that I look up to.
Yeah.
And then he has the choice of like, do I actually want to be, I think we make it more definitive where it's like at the end, he figures out that the fans are his actual, where he wants to be. He
The fan life is
finds
better
that
than player
fame
life.
is too much.
hmm
Players go alone. They're shooting up
Yeah.
drugs. They're sad. Cocaine
I mean-
everywhere.
So it's got some Hotline Miami in it.
A little bit. He's not,
Okay.
well, he's not killing people. He's just
Right.
snorting.
I
like
mean,
cocaine.
like I think that there is a thing like the one reason I love like games like Celeste so much are because I mean I do enjoy the platforming, but as well they have very touching stories,
Yeah.
sure.
and I think that that's a thing that we could set us apart from the rest of the minigame collections.
But can I make a wrong decision, like
Okay.
in Katana Zero, that
Okay.
like has everyone played Katana Zero?
Yeah, one of my favorite games of last year.
Okay, if you haven't, you should play it. It's on more platforms now.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point in the game where you can make the correct decision, and that will.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil anything, but that'll be the right decision for the game. Or you can make the wrong decision, and you've made the wrong. Man, I'm really trying not to spoil it because it's such a cool moment in the game. But yes, so there is a clear decision that like if you make it, things will just be great. But if you make the wrong one, and that could be like so, if you choose to continue to be a fan because you find out that's what you wanted all along, then that's great and things can continue on. But if you choose to go the side of fame, it's game over. And you've just kind of like, you've killed the real meaning of life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But you have a lot of money, so you're
You
totally
have-
fine.
Yeah.
You're fine because you've got
Okay, don't worry
all the
about it.
drugs,
All right.
right?
You never,
I'm
you
okay
didn't
with
learn a
that.
lesson, but boy, howdy, do you have a lot of cars.
All right, so the last thing we need is a title.
I think you need a really arcadey title, like
Yeah.
alliteration, tailgate troubles, or like something arcadey.
Tailgate
Super hyper
troubles.
mega tailgate party 2.
Super Robot Monkey Team, Hyperforce, Tailgate.
I'm gonna be honest, I like Tailgate Troubles.
Yeah, Tailgate Trouble.
No, Tailgate Troubles. Tailgate Troubles is a good title. Mine was mine.
Yours was too Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it'll be like in that list of games, and you'll be like, Tailgate Troubles. That sounds generic enough that it could be bad, but also generic enough that it could secretly be a hidden gem.
Sounds like the indie darling that everyone's gonna love.
Bingo bango. All right, there it is. We've made it. Tailgate Troubles. Now it's going back out to you all in the community. What's the box art going to look like? Because we need you to help put this final package together so we can give it to Triband and they can make this game and it can hit your phone in 2021 spring and then your Switch later in fall 2021 because that timeline makes absolutely no sense.
Maybe 2022 because that's
good.
a hell of a timeline to bang out a game.
I wanted to also shout out, I know someone who does something super similar to this is Jay Yee and Alex Gonzalez have a podcast called We Are Not Game Devs.
Yeah.
Very great. I was on that podcast, a very great podcast.
Ooh.
If you're looking for some more of this type of stuff, definitely check them out.
They're also very great people. You can check out
Very
Jay Yee
great
on the
people.
Up and Comer podcast.
I sat after I was on the podcast with them. I sat with Jay and talked about Kingdom Hearts till like 4 a.m.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like we got done at like midnight.
Eskimo Brothers.
You
That's
should
what
do
I'm
a podcast
hearing.
with Jay so you can talk about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want
When
to
you're done
now.
in the post show.
Deal. All right. It's time to move on to my favorite. Where, again, we get a prompt from you all and the Borderline family, and we take a trip down memory lane in our video game pantheon of experiences. So now we've got my favorite launch title. Even though somebody earlier said that launch titles suck.
Listen, they mostly do. Mostly do.
Sam, what's your favorite launch title?
So when I saw this earlier, I was out for a walk. I just had a nice Sunday lunch, and I pulled it up whilst I was walking, and instantly my head went, Luigi's Mansion, right? And then I started to think, and then Breath of the Wild. It kind of has to be Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
There's nothing better than that as a launch title. I don't think that game is as close to perfect as you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it came out with the Switch and it still continues to sell and it still continues to probably be the best game on that console can't be understated.
Couldn't agree more.
I couldn't disagree more. Breath of the Wild is one of the most overrated games of all time.
Shut your freaking mouth. You know what? You're
I
going
have some hot
last.
takes.
You are going last. Josh, what's your
Hot-
favorite launch title? Nick, you shut your filthy mouth or I will staple
Am I
it
allowed
shut.
to say Miles Morales?
I mean, you
I know
can.
it's not out yet, but like...
Sure.
No, so I mean, I don't know. In a couple months, I think I'll honestly say Miles Morales because I think it'll be a Breath of the Wild situation. You know what I mean? Like for me, Spider-Man is a perfect game. It has everything I want it to be. So for you to get more of that with Miles for the launch of the PlayStation 5, I think that's incredible. Going back to launch, I was gonna say Breath of the Wild. You know what I mean? Like kind of like we talked about earlier, and to Nick's point, like launch games are really to show off like, hey, here's what this console can do. Here's why this console is different than the one you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Look how like Killzone. It might not, maybe it's not the greatest game, but it looks really like it looked so much better. It felt better. So that's what a launch title is. But like Sam was saying, Breath of the Wild was something entirely different. Like, yeah, Breath of the Wild showed out like what the Switch can be, the fact that you can play it on your TV and switch to handheld. But it's also one of the best Zelda games of all time, and it's in the top 10 best games of all time. Like the iterations that game made on using like the stamina, the climb, literally anything in the world, the physics that you can do, the way people break the game, but it's not breaking the game because the game allows you to do it by with its own engine physics. It's incredible. So I would have to agree with Sam and go Breath of the Wild.
Every few weeks, I still get a video pop up on my Twitter feed of somebody doing something absolutely just insane in that game.
Oh, of course.
Spinning Guardians and flying halfway across the map. It's just crazy.
The fact that if you have a thought, hey, can I do this? And the answer is always yes. Like,
Yeah.
hey, it would make sense if, I throw my metal sword in the storm that someone gets electrocuted. You throw a metal sword, like, hey, I know if I like fire creates an updraft, so if I burn this patch, okay, now I can fly. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
The most impactful moment for me in that same vein was chopping down the tree for it to fall down so I could walk across that gorge.
Yep.
It was like, it's the most simplest thing, but it's what I've always wanted video games to do.
Mm-hmm.
But crap, I can't go with Breath of the Wild now. I need to go with something different.
You could, and then we could just not give Nick an opinion.
I could, and trust me, you better believe I want to ring that boy good. Because I do. I love Breath of the Wild. I can't say enough. I'll throw it out there. My son's name is Link. Like, Zelda. But I would have to say, like, turning on my Wayback Machine, I'd have to go Halo Combat Evolved for the original Xbox. And I know, Sam, you're wincing. And shooters in general just aren't something for everybody. And maybe and I'm just going to take a wild guess, that for most of everybody on the panel, you were probably maybe elementary?
2001, I was in first grade.
Okay.
Yes, same.
I was,
Okay.
I was 9, so
I was 15, I think. Was I? I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with 15, even though it was probably within like a 3 or 4 year range.
No,
within that. Watch, I was probably like 11, and it just doesn't make sense. But so I don't know. Maybe I was just at that age that it was just this sense of wonder. I have played so many games up to that point that have already captured that. I know, like, for example, the three of us here, like, we've talked about Mario in grand fashion. So, like, I remember distinctly so many games on the 64 that, like, when I played Banjo or Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, and I get that sense of, like, this is a world that's bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. Like, the exploration and where I want to go just hit at that point in my young life where this is everything that I've ever wanted and needed, and Halo was that as well. And Bungie did so well at capturing that 30 seconds of fun and then just replicating it within an entire game that I would also probably go on the limb and say that it's the game that I've played the most in my lifetime, because I can just continue to replay it, whether it be random missions, not even counting multiplayer. But whether it's a full playthrough, random missions, co-op, single player, doesn't matter. I just literally always have the best time. And it all stems from when I got that OG Xbox and I got a copy of Halo. And it was like nails in the coffin, done. This is a game changer for me. But Nick, I've decided that you can have rights. Go ahead and talk about how...
So Breath of the Wild, let me tell you, what a no, Sam, I am ashamed. I am ashamed of you because I know your actual favorite one. Your favorite launch title of all time is Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
And man, we had this discussion. If you want to go check it out over at DualShockers, self-promo, all that stuff, there is a DualShockers discussion where we rank the 3D Marios. Asa was a part of it.
Hey, I was there, and I wrote the piece about Odyssey and how it's better than Mario 64. Sorry, what?
It is better than Mario 64. It's the best.
Sorry.
That's why, like, if Odyssey was a
guy?
launch title, Odyssey is way better than Breath of the Wild. But anyways,
What's window?
So I was,
October.
Oh,
So about a few months after.
If we had launch window, okay. Anyways, I remember really liking Super Mario 64, but I was still like, I didn't quite get it as a kid, but obviously, like, as I went on, I'm like, oh, okay, like, I get this, you know, like, I was like running up to the castle, and I was a dumb kid. Let me tell you. And I'm sure Super Mario 64 inspired my love of many things. One of those things being Kingdom Hearts. So basically what I'm trying to say, Super Mario 64 is good on just the fact that it inspired so many games after it. So many 3D platforms came out and was the best it could be. And I'm going to tell you what.
Kissing?
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you what. I went back to go play Super Mario 64 on the 3D All Stars collection. Super Mario 64 holds the
up.
hell up, dude.
Heard.
I
does,
thought,
it
man,
does.
there's no way this game holds up. It holds up so much. And
I told you this.
It iterated so well on each one of the. It started the 3D platformer in general, and I think that is something that can be marketably just put out there, and it's amazing. Like it's the reason we have Kingdom Hearts. It's the reason we have Kingdom Hearts because Tetsuya Nomura said, "I want a Super Mario 64 game, but with Final Fantasy characters," and that's what we have. That, anyways. That is my opinion.
All right.
If that's the case, then by default he's correct.
You know, right?
Well, you know what?
See,
it doesn't matter what Nick says. Let us know what you think. what is your favorite launch title? Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. We're gonna move on to we're closing in on the end here. It's time for Big Bet Trivia.
bets.
What? No, all I can think of when you do that now is the little trotting thing, and somebody was a filthy creature.
Oh, do we have teams?
You don't have teams. Your team is yourself. So
Okay.
Just
I
like in the
have
real world, you're alone.
Yes, you are alone. You are very much
Too real.
alone. All right, I'm going to ask the question. Whoever buzzes in first gets their chance to answer. If you get it wrong, it goes to the next two people, and then if they get it wrong, it goes to the last person, so on and so forth. If everybody gets it wrong, we go into the hint round. 3 hints. When one hint happens, it goes to the same thing as before, but after we get to 3 hints and nobody gets it, it's a draw. So these games within this, and this is the Ultimate Video Game Trivia game. You can buy this somewhere. I don't really freaking know. But anyways, it spans from...
Sponsor us.
Yeah, please sponsor us. Who made this?
Sponsor is the Defiant Stallions.
No, it says Professor Puzzle. But anyway, so... yes, it spans from the Atari all the way up into the PS3 360 era. All right. Oh gosh, dude, this is so easy. It's not even. I want to switch it up, but we're gonna keep it going.
Tetsuya Nomura, the
All right.
greatest game director alive. Points.
In which game did Kitana first appear as a playable character?
Do we buzz in?
Yeah, just go or
Buzz.
wave your hands or whatever. Buzz, what do you got?
Is it Mortal Kombat 3?
Ooh, so close.
Is it 2, wasn't it?
All right, it goes to Josh and Sam. Whoever can buzz in. Sam, what do you got?
Mortal Kombat 2.
It is. Wow, Mortal Kombat 2. The
I was
point
like, it's either
goes
2
to
or
Sam.
3.
I knew it was Mortal Kombat, but I don't know enough about it. I would not have guessed a number.
Wow.
I
good.
said the Mortal Kombat trilogy on the N64, so I was
That's
like,
cheap.
yeah.
That's cheap. Wow, I'm surprised. Well, congratulations, Sam. You got a point. Nick, nothing. Josh, I got to go back. I don't know how many points you have, but you didn't get one this time. So congratulations,
2
Sam.
or 3.
We're going to round out the
points.
show. It's time to pop into Out This Month. I'm going to read the list of games coming out in the month of October. You are just going to pick one game that stands out to you the most, that you're the most hyped about. So in October, we got Super Mario Brothers 35, East Origin, Crash Bandicoot 4, Star Wars Squadrons, Foregone, Baldur's Gate 3, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix, Game Dev Tycoon, Inkfell, FIFA 21, The Survivalists, Wood Salt, Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, Cake Bash, Cloudpunk, Space Crew, Ground Trick, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Amnesia Rebirth, Transformers Battlegrounds, Cobra Kai, The Karate Kid Saga Continues, Ghost Runner, Watch Dogs Legion, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, Auto Chess, and Fall Guys Season 2.
So, one thing that I am woefully unprepared. I'm gonna tell you.
You just
There's
pick one.
thing I've also been playing is the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, because my pick is Crash Bandicoot, because once I beat the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, I'm jumping into Crash Bandicoot 4.
Sick.
I'm
More.
I'm looking forward to Watch Dogs. I think the voice acting is going to be a bit difficult for me because it's all very like stereotypical film English. So it's like, all right, governor, hey, how you doing? Going down the pub, mate. Going down the pub, mate. Like, so that's going to be, a bit tough to take. But my real answer is Pikmin 3.
Okay.
I cannot wait to play that game again. That game is so good, and everybody should absolutely buy it because it's a strategy masterpiece.
I know last time I said Star Wars Squadron, so I got to mix it up a little bit. Honestly, I think I might go Transformers Battlegrounds. I love Transformers.
Heck yeah.
We haven't had a good Transformers game since War for Cybertron or Fall for Cybertron. The Cybertron games are good. So you know, I
Devastation's
mean,
pretty good.
which one?
Devastation.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
That was-
I guess that's a good point.
It's pretty.
So,
decent.
yeah, no, I mean,
it's not great. But...
Right. But no, I mean, like I love Transformers. Battlegrounds seems like it's kind of cool. I don't know if it's gonna be great, but
Yeah.
Maybe I'll look into it. Probably not, but.
And I'm gonna go Mario Kart Live Home Circuit because
Yeah, for
that
sure.
game looks dope. I've been watching people play it, and I'm super hyped. But it's time to sign things off. But we'd be remiss if we didn't do our community spotlight. So our spotlight for this episode is Jamar Games. Make sure you check him out. He is an amazing fella, a good-looking dude, and he has the "Why Are You a Gamer" podcast. I know that I have been on it. I know that Josh has been on it. So there's 2 phenomenal episodes to start you off. So please go check it out. It is he really knows what he's doing, and more people need to be listening to him and all the other media junkie content. But all right, Nick, Sam, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, all eyes are on you. What do you want to promote? Where should people go to find you? What do you got?
Go on, Nick.
Ah, damn it! You give it to me. All right. Oh, I slipped up and I did a swear. So I am. You can follow me at Shocking McPain, youtube.com/Shocking McPain, and basically Shocking McPain most places except for PlayStation because, of course, I haven't changed my name.
But you can now. Thank you, Shuhei.
I don't want to though
That's
because I don't. There's so many things with it. Anyways, of course, you can find me over at youtube.com/DualShockers, where we're doing some cool pieces over there. We're gonna have some cool Halloween stuff coming up as well, so check that out. And of course, over at all the socials at Shaka McPain. I'm so unprepared today. I'm sorry, guys.
Amateur.
I can't even do my. I'm like, all right, let's get through this. Sam knows I usually get through this. I'm like, yeah, let's find me over here. I did the previews for Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory over, and they're just edited together. But from Cam Hawkins and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla previews, so check those out. That's my editing style. Of course, Cam Hawkins did the VO, and that's what I have to promote.
Cool. Yeah. So writer over at jewelshockers.com. Go over there, find my staff profile in the About Us if you want to read some of my stuff. I have most recent couple of games I reviewed are a couple of big ones, Super Mario Bros 35 and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So a couple of big reviews, enjoyed both of those games. On Twitter, I am at Captain Woodsy, all one word. And then obviously I co-host the Co-op Stop with Nick, which is a monthly podcast. You can catch that at generally the end of every month. We're bad at scheduling. Obviously, it doesn't help that our time zones are so far apart, which makes things really difficult. But generally, you can catch us towards the end of every month.
If you want to check me out, you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Biddick, or on any place you get podcast services. You can look up the Up and Comer podcast, where each and every week I sit down with currently a kind of funny best friend, talk to them, share their story, and explain why they want to be the next up and comer. Because even though Kind of Funny has postponed the up and comer opportunity, that doesn't mean we have fantastic friends out there who have their stories that need to be told. Eventually, we'll be moving on to not just up and comers for Kind of Funny, but just up and comers in general. So if you have a story you want to share about your content creation history, please hit me up on Twitter. Again, that is at Josh Biddick, JoshBittick, and I will do my best to get you on the calendar to sit down and have a chat with you.
He's so good, Asa. He's so good.
I know.
I don't understand it.
Appreciate it. It helps.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at aGreenRiver07 on Instagram and Twitter. Primarily Twitter is where I spend most of my time. But if you want to follow anybody, please search Borderline Entertainment on all of your social platforms. Stay in the know when there's new episodes of Game Chat, new episodes of the Parents That Play podcast, new streams happening, and just new content in general. And please consider being a part of the Borderline family today. We're a growing community, and we would love to have you be a part of that. But For Josh, for Nick, for Sam, I'm Asa. Be well, Borderline family. Be well. Take care.